Shalom, Israel. It's your boy New Breed coming through with another video. We are streaming live. I'm trying to get in the habit of actually recording the audios to these live streams for all my visual learners out there, so I can actually set up a visual to all of this that's about to be said. What's good, family? What's good? L Boogie in the house, Professor Gaines in the house, Kennedy and Isaiah, Veronica White, Rimbro Sana. Yeah. I'm glad y'all able to catch this live stream. We got a lot to talk about. Witchcraft come in many forms, ladies and gentlemen. Many forms. And we're going to really talk about it. Because it's a misconception among the conscious community and spiritual esoteric leaders that there are many avenues and spiritual, I would say, options. But in reality, a lot of it is pagan, a lot of it is witchcraft, a lot of it has roots to ancient beliefs, magic, sorcery, the dark arts. A lot of these things that you see that's become mainstream, it's witchcraft, straight up. And we're going to talk about this because it's imperative for us to promote awareness about this in this day and age. Oh yeah. And we're going to talk about all of the things that most people may not deem as being witchcraft, but ladies and gentlemen, it's definitely witchcraft. So we're going to get into it. Absolutely. I'm glad to see y'all making it. As you come into this live stream, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, because it helps send notifications out. We want as many people as possible to catch this message. All right, so a lot of times we're seeing different esoteric spiritual beliefs being placed on the forefront. Everything you're seeing, it comes from ancient practices, ancient beliefs, sorcery, magic. A lot of times you see people utilizing crystals, utilizing different roots. All of these things have origins, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime you see somebody teaching with roots and teaching with crystals and all of that kind of stuff, using foreign objects opposed to leadership to the Most High and directing you on that narrow path. Anytime you see anybody using an object or any type of material, that is idolatry. That is straight up idolatry. It's magic, and it's straight up witchcraft. Y'all got to understand, some of these gems and some of these stones and crystals that they use, the way they make these particular stones and crystals is demonic. They use demonic frequencies. They use sound barriers. They use all kind of things to create these crystals. And these crystals usually have jinns or spirits within them. At a young age, I can really speak about this topic because at a young age, I was exposed to a lot of things that were, I would say, straight up witchcraft. Now, I'm not going to say who exposed these things to me. I wasn't engaged or active in any of these things, but I was exposed to it. So I understand how much these different practices actually affect households, affect the children, affect one's mentality, affect how quick someone grows in truth. So I find this topic very important to speak on. Now, a lot of people don't understand that how many forms of what you call witchcraft come in. Ladies and gentlemen, witchcraft is also manipulation. When one manipulates a person's mind, That is witchcraft. Straight up. There are people out here who get books on how to manipulate individuals. The 48 Laws of Power. That's a book written, produced by wizards. All right. So when you see people quoting from the 48 Laws of Power, it's all about manipulation, manipulating one's mind. So when it comes to manipulating someone, that is straight up witchcraft. That's why it leaves a person feeling confused. Anytime you deal with anybody, and here's a telltale sign that you may be dealing with a witch or a warlock or a wizard. Anytime you have a conversation with them, it could be a phone conversation, anything. If this person leaves you feeling confused, in disarray, you just feel lost after speaking to them. They fast talk you. They try their best to confuse you. That is a witch tactic. And what's happening is they're draining energy from you. So what you have is witchcraft being used in mind games as well, in manipulation. So these are things that we just got to be aware of. Psychiatry, or what they call psychologist, therapist. All of these things are actually forms of witchcraft. Y'all got to understand how much that narrow path, how narrow that path is. When you got people in these psychologist chairs, these people in white coats, these people trying to curve one's enthusiasm or change one's mind, and these what they call counselors, a lot of times are straight up witches. Straight up witches. If they're not leading you to the narrow path, following the Most High, honoring his commandments, to basically overcome your psychological damage, then it's straight up witchcraft. It's straight up witchcraft, ladies and gentlemen. And see, what we've been programmed in the past to believe is that witches, we believe that witches come, they look like gargoyles damn near. We believe they got to have a big nose with the lump on their nose and the moles on their face and this real creature looking face. That's what we believe, right? That's what we believe a witch should look like. That's what we've been taught as a child, that a wicked witch looks a certain way, rides a broomstick. No, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand, a witch comes most witches are actually the total opposite. A lot of witches are attractive. A lot of witches are nice people. A lot of witches, they use a lot of high frequency words. A lot of high frequency words. A lot of them are charismatic. A lot of them are a certain way. And to the point where, especially for you ladies out there, this is something that you got to look out for. You may meet let's paint this scenario. You may meet a sister, right? And she speaks very highly. She is very nice, and most women, especially in the black community, don't get along. So when a woman finds another woman who is not that way, another woman who is nice, and she's not, I wouldn't say feminist, but she promotes women, and she speaks highly of other women. That's a lot of witches actually operate in that vein, because you'll get close to them, and this would have happened. You'll get close to them, and they use all these high frequency words. They speak positive. They come with different spiritual beliefs. And they'll say, hey, they'll come to you and say, hey, come down. I'm a counselor. Come down to one of my meetings. You know, I'm a counselor, and, you know, I do spiritual teachings. They use these key words: counseling, spiritual teachings, a esoteric leader, a guider, right? But the whole time, right, if you keep on dealing with these people, it'll be no time before you sitting in the middle of a living room with candles lit, with a pentagram sitting there, channeling demons, because that's how they are. You can see mirror gazing being spread. That's an ancient witch technique. It's actually spoken of in the Bible, by the way. And we're going to go into some scriptures as well. But mirror gazing is talked about in the Bible. Among occult practices, they do something called peeping or mirror gazing or scrying, where one is gazing into a mirror. The Bible actually speaks about this and tells people not to do this straight up. That's the reason why it's being promoted. And they found ways to make it very mainstream nowadays. They found ways to make it mainstream. So we're going to get into some things about these witches. Witchcraft comes in many forms. One may think that looking at your sign, your horoscope, one may think that looking at your horoscope is innocent. Ladies and gentlemen, that knowledge was taught to man by fallen spirits. That knowledge was taught to man by demons. You got to understand that the horoscopes, you got to understand the difference between astrology and astronomy. Now, our ancestors, we would follow the stars, follow the drinking gourd. We would follow all of these things to find our way and understand times and prophecy. But when those angels were cast out of heaven with Satan, they taught mankind certain sciences above natural science. Astronomy would be natural science. Astrology, on the other hand, is how months line up with your birth date. And there's truth to it. It's truth to the horoscopes, but it's used in a way as witchcraft because it's a manipulation tool. If you meet someone and you know they're Sagittarius, you know they're Aries, you know their sign, then you preconceive and you prejudge an individual. Mankind was never supposed to get this knowledge. So when we're taught these things, it becomes abusive. It becomes something that we use as a manipulation tool. It makes us preconceive and prejudge people. So looking at your horoscopes is a form of witchcraft. You got to understand that. Following and believing your horoscopes is a form of witchcraft. I just thought I'd let that be known. Also, calling the psychics. Calling the Psychic Friends Network. Miss Cleo, call me now. These psychics are dealing with divination. They're dealing with mediums. What they do is they scry, they use peeping techniques, they use necromancy, and what they're doing is they're doing straight up witchcraft. So when you're calling a psychic, you're dealing with witchcraft, straight up. And as you ride down the street, you see these little psychic places everywhere. So it's something that we definitely got to look out for. Absolutely. Familiar spirits. Now we're going to go into the scriptures. Leviticus 19:31. It reads, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to defile by them. I am the Lord your God." So that's a direct commandment that we ain't supposed to be seeking for familiar spirits. Now, what's familiar spirits, one may ask? A familiar spirit is when you play with a Ouija board and you believe that your ancient relative, or you believe that your cousin, your auntie, your grandma is trying to talk to you. Actually, that's a familiar spirit. There's no such thing as what the world would like to call ghost. Only demons and angels. No ghosts exist. Demons and angels. So a lot of people believe they're contacting a ghost. They think they're talking to a spirit of their ancestor. Truth be told, when you bring that Ouija board in your house, the only thing you're doing is opening up a gateway, a portal to demons. So all of that, those ghost stories and all that, it's complete. It's nonsense. Yes, spirits do exist. Demonic spirits, angelic spirits. Demonic spirits, angelic spirits. When you see somebody using a Ouija board and they're channeling what they think to be their grandmother, their grandfather, what it is a demon. And sometimes these demons may know things about that relative because that demon was either inhabiting that relative or that demon was in that household with that relative. So don't let trying to, you got people out here who trying to reach their dead grandma and granddad. Those are familiar spirits. Why are those spirits familiar? Because those spirits are either generational spirits that's in the family. They were dealing with that relative that died. So that spirit in that household may know certain things about that relative. It's not your dead relative. It's a demon. Not a ghost, but a demon. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Exodus 22:18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Also, the Bible directly commands people to actually stone these witches. Y'all remember when the witch hunts were happening back in the day? Witches would get burnt at the stake. Stones were being thrown, right? That was the Most High God. That was a commandment to do so. That was a commandment to do so. Of course, I'm not trying to encourage anyone to go stone a witch. But I want you brothers to put this in a perspective to why the Most High condoned and commanded witches to be stoned at the stake. Fellas, let's paint this scenario. These different esoteric women, these spiritual advisors, these witches, nowadays, they're doing something that's not spoken about in mainstream. Fellas, I want you to imagine coming home one day and you ready to sit down and eat. You ready to have a nice little meal. Your wife, what you perceive as a girlfriend, a lady you're dealing with, you catch her putting menstrual blood in your spaghetti. How would you feel? How would you feel if you catch a girlfriend putting menstrual blood in your spaghetti? A lot of brothers wouldn't be so against that woman being stoned, right? A lot of brothers wouldn't feel too good about her being stoned at the stake or burnt at the stake, right? Well, guess what, brothers? There are witches, women out here who do this as a spell to keep a man. So to show you how wretched and disgusting these low vibrational witches are and how detrimental they are, the Most High knows the wickedness of these witches. He said, stone them, burn them, whatever. But what they did in history was they curbed our enthusiasm, right? And what they did was they said, okay, well, witches went through persecution. Witches went through persecution because they were getting snatched up out of their houses, stoned, hung, burnt at the stake. Because these women were despicable. These women, that they were basically given a feel-good story of, now what you get is they are heroic. They went through persecutions. These witches went through things. These witches went through all kinds of trials and tribulations. They need to be respected, right? That's what people think. That's what the average person thinks now. When we see the stories of the witch hunt, we feel sympathetic. We feel sympathetic for the witches, right? In reality, they didn't tell you the whole story. These witches were sacrificing children. Oh yeah, they were sacrificing children, animals, blood in the food, putting spells on people to cause them to be mad, have madness. Witches can destroy a nation. The people who are the rulers in dark places, they're witches and warlocks. And we're not just specifically speaking about women, but this topic is about witchcraft in particular. But we're gonna talk about it because men can do witchcraft too. Is wizardry. They refer to it as being a wizard. And we're going to talk about that. A man also, this is what the Bible says in Leviticus 20:27. A man also or woman that have a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood should be upon them. So we're talking about men and women who practice witchcraft. And it comes in various forms. A lot of people think that these witches are just evil looking people, wretched looking people. No. These witches, a lot of the times, they the people that look like the most nice, precious, concerning, caring type of people. Let's see what the people got to say about this witchcraft madness. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up. We're going to get 300 people in the house. Yup. Lemon 460B says you might know a witch, not outwardly. Absolutely. Anybody that you're talking to that makes your energy feel like it's completely been drained, like your spirit has been drained, or you feel confused, most likely you were dealing with a witch who was exercising dark magic. Bryce Hoover says, what about white magic versus black magic? That's an excellent question, Bryce. Now, when they say white magic and black magic, you got to understand that the witches had to give a Hegelian dialect to their exercises and their practices. So black magic would be considered pure evil, right? But then they'll give you an opposite side to make it look like, oh, it's duality to this situation. You know, we're not just solely dark. You know, there's some people who do witchcraft to harm, and then there's some who do witchcraft to help. There's no such thing as witchcraft that helps. Even if Satan blesses you, I would say even if Satan blesses you, with something, it's all magic and it's all going to have a repercussion. It's all wicked, but they had to give you that duality to throw confusion out there. So there's no such thing as like white magic and black magic. It's all magic. It's all evil. Morindo Santa says, so these men do witchcraft behind closed doors. Wow, that's sad. Yeah, the rulers in dark places, the ones who control society, this social construct, they're heavy into this witchcraft and sorcery. They're sacrificing children. They're drinking the blood of the children. That mean they're casting spells. The word holiday, that derives from the word holy day. The Bible has real holy days. On their holidays, it's mostly pagan traditions, witchcraft, sorcery. They're serving their master on those days. Oh yeah, it comes in all forms. Witchcraft comes in a form of what the brother just said, orgies. That's a form of witchcraft. Sex magic. These things are indeed real. Israel W said, how can you tell who's doing witchcraft? Well, a lot of times these witches, they use certain keywords. A lot of times they don't lead you to the narrow path when they're speaking. They speak a lot about your consciousness. They speak a lot about the universe. They love to talk about the universe. A lot of these people use materials opposed to literature, legit literature that's going to lead you to the commandments of the Most High. A lot of these people tend to use objects, crystals, gems, stones. A lot of these people are into different practices that may seem weird to the average person. Any brother you got sitting there staring at the mirror, telling you that mirror gazing is spiritual, but not telling you what kind of spirituality it promotes, that's a wizard. That's a witch. Mirror gazing is called peeping. That's an ancient practice in witchcraft. They're using the mirror as an actual medium and portal to the spiritual realm. Everything that you think is strange, everything you think is fiction, it's real. It's straight up fact. It's been practiced for multiple generations. So all these practices derive from something. Leviticus 20:6. And the soul that turneth after such as a familiar spirit, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul and will cut him off from his people. Now I want y'all to hear this again. And the soul that turneth after such as a familiar spirit, and after wizards, to go whoring after them. So this Bible is saying anybody who goes whoring after these spiritual, what they call esoteric spiritual leaders, these familiar spirits, these wizards, anybody who goes chasing these dudes, following these dudes, believing these dudes, the Most High is going to cut you off as well for whoring after these wizards and witches. So all these brothers who are pro mirror gazing, pro sun gazing, anything that the Most High doesn't tell you to do within that Bible to get closer to him, anybody following these people, the Most High said he's going to cut them off too. Because you failed to walk the narrow path. Oh, the narrow path ain't no joke, ladies and gentlemen. The narrow path ain't no joke. And what I want y'all to understand is this. With the effects, this demonic culture, this witchcraft, this divination, this necromancy, the effects it have on an individual. Now I'm going to give a bit of my personal testimony. Growing up, I was exposed to these things. I was exposed to tarot cards, Ouija boards, witchcraft, psychics, divination, necromancy. Of course, I was not a participant because I was a child, but I was exposed to it on a high level. And I believe to this day, this is why I'm so bold in the spirit when it comes to going against these invisible forces. Because as a child, these things affected me a whole lot in my life. These things affected me in my growth. As a child, I experienced a lot of fear, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of what they call sleep paralysis, which is really a demon trying to enter your vessel. I've seen shadows. I've seen things. A lot of my childhood I spent in fear. In fear because I was exposed to that. It was around me all the time. And when being exposed to these things, it made me grow on a different level. And certain things happened to me in my life where these spirits were difficult to get a hold of. So what I'm telling you this is for all those single women out there. All those women who raising children by herself, who may not have that head of protection, that man, that guidance in the household to lead you on a spiritual path. You absolutely have to be careful what all of these teachers online are teaching, what the movies are teaching, what your friends may be into, because guess what? It's going to affect your children. I feel compelled to tell somebody that. It will affect your children. It'll affect your household. And once you let those spirits in your house, it ain't no getting them out. You can get them out, but if you don't have the right leadership and the right person coming through, casting them spirits out, you're going to be in for a world of trouble. A lot of these witches try to do witchcraft on the wrong people too. Oh yeah. They try to do witchcraft on men of the Most High or women of the Most High. And when that happens, oh man, all hell break loose. All hell break loose on them. Everything gets reversed. Straight up. F. Ferguson says that they're a witness. The Marvel Lord says, is meditation. One moment. One moment, family. Sorry for the interruption. Is meditation witchcraft? Well, this is what you got to understand. The Bible tells us to meditate on the word day and night. Meditate on his commandments. Meditate on his laws. If you're meditating, a lot of the times you're opening yourself up. That is a practice that's done a lot in order to open yourself up for these familiar spirits and entities to enter. If you've ever seen a celebrity talk about how, before they prepare for a role, they kind of open themselves up and they let whatever come in to influence them. I remember Beyonce said she kind of meditates, whatever comes in, it kind of takes over and she becomes another person. So meditation is the basic practice of opening yourself up for an entity to enter you. Now, the Bible tells us to meditate on his word. That means when you're in a resting state, when you're sitting back, chilling, you thinking, you should be thinking about his word. Not trying to channel yourself or open yourself up and make your body a portal for entities. All that Buddhism, all of these different ideologies and beliefs, it's witchcraft. If it's outside of that narrow path or what them scriptures say, it's witchcraft. Isaiah 8:19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep, and that mutter. Now peep, when this scripture says wizards that peep, it's talking about mirror gazing. In the occult, they refer to it as peeping or scrying. The Bible says, and when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits. So when you got people saying, oh, go watch spiritual nose channel, because he's spiritual. When they say go unto them, and they tell you to go unto wizards that peep, that mirror gaze, that mutter, you should not a people seek unto their God. The Bible's directly commanding you not to go seek their God. For the living to the dead. The Bible straight up tell you, don't go seeking their God. Yeah, I said spiritual no, like hell no. Spiritual hell no. If you ain't in that truth, if you ain't walking a narrow path, I want nothing to do with it. We got to become more, I would say, we got to become more strict on what we allow. Anthony Negron, you got it, family. The Bible's so on point, it's crazy. It's crazy. Nobody can't tell me this Bible ain't real. You can't tell me it ain't real, because we see it, everything that this is exposing We see it everywhere, and we're seeing it be made mainstream. We're seeing it become popular. And there's no balance either. It's like the balance has been shifted. I remember once upon a time, you can get information online of positive and negative, and it was equal. It was balanced. Now it's like all you getting is sorcery, witchcraft, magic. That's all you getting online. So it's like, where do we get some balance here? The narrow path is getting more narrow by the day. It's getting more narrow by the day. We at 289, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that thumbs up. We going to 300. First Samuel 15:23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is an iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected thee from being a king. So, ladies and gentlemen, stubbornness, that's an iniquity into idolatry. That's how one becomes being a witch. Ladies and gentlemen, when you meet someone who is stubborn, a lot of times through childhood, we like to, make it a minute situation when someone is stubborn. Oh, that kid is stubborn. If you have a stubborn child, you need to fix that ASAP. Because stubborn children grow up to be stubborn adults. Being stubbornness is a sin that leads to all kind of idolatry and witchcraft. So when you're talking to someone who is stubborn, that's a person who will be reverted to a reprobated mind. A person you can't tell a damn thing to. A person that you can't direct, that you can't lead. Fellas out there, if you're dealing with a woman that is stubborn, then you need to walk far away. Far, far, far away. Because her iniquity of being stubborn is going to lead her to familiar spirits. She's not going to follow you in truth if she's stubborn. Straight up. Only way she's going to follow you if she thinks she has some type of manipulation or mind control over you. If she thinks she can outwit you. If you notice something about people who are manipulative, once a person is manipulative and you no longer fall for it, when people try to use guilt as a tactic, confusion, fast talking, when people try to drain your energy with lies, when you got people doing this, right? If you notice, the moment you do not allow them to do that anymore, when you don't allow them to be like manipulating you, they immediately disappear. It's like they have no use for you, and they cannot, like you realize how weak they really are. You realize how treacherous they are, how much of a bottom feeder and an energy vampire they are. You realize that once you see that once they can't manipulate you, once your mind rises above, you notice how weak they are, how demented they are, how twisted they are. They really become pathetic. A person who is manipulative then becomes pathetic once you overcome how manipulative they are. You can hate me now, Mackenzie says. I remember when this lady tried to grab my hand and read my palm. I was like, what the F? What the F you doing? I don't need that. Oh yeah, palm reading. And remember, we was taught that as a child like it was a societal norm. Remember, people was like, hey, let me see your hand. Let me look at the lines in your hand. I'm going to tell you when you're going to die and all that, right? Let me look at the veins in your fingers and tell you who you're going to marry and all that. Witchcraft. It's mainstream. Parents out there. Harry Potter movies. Witchcraft. Be careful what these kids are watching. A lot of the cartoons. You looking at Disney movies, right? A lot of Walt Disney movies is straight up witchcraft, sorcery, magic. I mean, it's right there in your face. So a lot of the times they're trying to indoctrinate your children while they're young, so they'll be susceptible to certain things when they get older. Yep, you got Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and they make it seem like, oh, it's just normal. Technically, it is normal in this society. K.O. Tongue says Walt Disney is a Satanist. Yeah, all of them Walt Disney shows involve magic. It's making your children susceptible to accept these things. So we gotta be strict. We gotta be strict because these things are basically. Uh-oh. As you can see, I don't know if y'all can see me moving, but it's completely froze on my end. It's completely froze on my end. Y'all gonna have more videos like this coming. I hope y'all can hear my audio. As you can see, this message is being diluted. A lot of truth coming out. But we're going to talk about it. If y'all can hear me, we're going to go in. Soon as we brung up the indoctrination of the youth and the children, that's when, see, this next generation to come, that's who they really aiming at, because the next generation, that's the generation that's really a problem. They're fearing them and they're trying to put it out there. Revelations 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake with burning fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So all of these people who are trying to set up all of this witchcraft and sorcery to be put on the general public, that's the end for them. So as long as I'm here, I'm going to speak this truth regardless. And that's a message directly to them. So in this video, I see they playing with everybody saying they can hear me. That's what's up. I'm glad y'all can still hear it. Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, keep hitting them thumbs up because I want to see if it's going to keep letting more people come in. Because there's no reason this should be doing this. There's no reason that this should be freezing like this. There's audio, okay. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what it is. And I want this video to be spread. I want you to share this video to help individuals who may fall into these snares and these traps so they can avoid these things. So I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all gonna have more videos coming. Hopefully I can put a visual to everything that's being said at another time. Make sure y'all support that video as well and share that video. I'm gonna be making more content today on this Sabbath day, and y'all gonna be getting more content today. So just keep on tuning in. Make sure all your notifications are on, right? I'd like to thank y'all for viewing. With that being said, shalom and